First things first is, Brian, can we get a little bit of a simple elevator pitch on both FBA and FBM? Like what are they? The bare bones basics.
Yeah, so FBM would be you have your own warehouse, you have your own fulfillment network, and even though you are have your listing on Amazon and you're generating sales, it's your sales channel through Amazon. You're handling the storage, you have your warehouse that you have the inventory in, and then you're handling the pick, pack, and ship of that product. But you also are handling customer service. Now, if you have FBA, so fulfilled by Amazon, you are sending product in a replenishment order, so a bulk order into Amazon, and they are storing it in their network, their warehousing network, and then they're handling pick, pack, ship, but they are also handling the customer service side of that too. So they're kind of you still are generating sales through both of them, but as far as who holds that inventory at their warehouse and who does the pick, pack, and ship is the difference.
Amen. That is the skinny. That is the 411 on FBA versus FBM. So to get a little more detailed, to get a little bit more into the weeds on this topic, because that's what we're here to do. What are the simple benefits of doing FBA versus FBM on for selling on Amazon?
Um, Good question. It's a little bit loaded. But we can get like you said, we can get
Eric,
in
I
the weeds
love
here.
giving you these loaded questions. I
I
love giving you
I
these
know.
super
I
complex
mean,
questions that you cannot
and
answer in
my
30 seconds.
okay. Well, the biggest problem that I have though is that I'm super verbose and I don't shut up and I can talk. I can I can talk all day without saying anything. Um, but so I'm just gonna try to keep it tight a little bit. So like, the benefits, right? If you go FBA, you get the Prime badge. FBM, you don't get the Prime badge. That's one of the quick and easy ways to look at it. But to go in directly into your question, it really kind of again, it's always going to be business to business, right? It's always going to have a little bit of nuances. Now, if like in general, most Amazon businesses are going to be kind of run the same, almost, right? You want to go FBA. Simply, you want to go FBA. It's going to give you a little bit more power with getting the buy box. You're going to get that Prime badge. And that's a big deal. Just having that Prime badge and the two-day shipping, right? I mean, that's what everybody goes to Amazon for, especially too with if you do have it ship into FBA. I have a local Amazon distribution center. I can get stuff the same day. So your FBM probably can't get stuff to the same day. So FBA is also, one of those great benefits of just moving product a lot faster, giving that customer a little bit more of a buying incentive. If your competition takes 7 days and you have same day, you're gonna win that you're just gonna take money from your competition, which is the goal here. But really going into it a little bit more is, if you're set up and let's say you're already like you do really well on your excuse me, I keep trying to say Amazon website. I want to say your website. So if you're doing a lot of volume on your website, you might, and you just have that you're staffed up for that onesies and twosies going out all the time. Maybe you want to just kind of stick to that same format. But the biggest thing is you just want to kind of be smart about it. You want to make sure that, whether you ship FBM or FBA, you're still going to have your referral fee. Your referral fee is going to be based on your category. Most categories are going to be about 15%. So you're going to have a 15% fee right off of your price in most circumstances. There's going to be some nuances to that where, if it's like $9.99, it might be 8%. There's different percentages, right? So just make sure that you go into your, you can just go into Amazon, do the search bar, say FBA referral fees. The thing will pop up. You'll see exactly where you're sitting, based on your just based on your price and based on your pricing category. And then from there, you'll want to just kind of say, hey, if I'm shipping from, let's just say your warehouse is in the Midwest, you're shipping to New York, ship to Washington State, average those two out, and that's going to be your shipping cost. And then if you take your weights and dims, go on Amazon, it'll tell you exactly what your shipping costs would be using FBA. And if it's like a 1-to-1, FBA is a better route. Even if it's like, I don't know, a couple bucks difference, I'd almost say that you're going to move volume faster, FBA. But it's going to be a decision that's going to be, based on internal conversations that you're going to have. But I recommend FBA almost 100% of the time. There's been some clients in the past that have like huge products that kind of are slow movers. You might not want to do that just for the long storage fees. But I mean, if you got small products, I'd say FBA almost 100% of the time.
Brian, do you have something?
Yes. Well, and in truth, I mean, it's kind of just looking at, FBM as a strategy. So let's say I've got a new product. I'm not really sure how it's going to do on Amazon. Instead of just guessing at your initial order and then getting stuck with inventory or feeling like you have to run a sale or something like that, instead you can switch it to FBM and then kind of see how it does, and then from there you can go, okay, yeah, now I want to move FBA because I see it's going to be, an opportunity. And so, I mean, there's benefits in both, and like Eric said, I would always go FBA if you know it's going to be a seller. Then absolutely, it's easier to manage. I'm going to do a bulk order and ship that in as a replenishment, and then allow FBA to handle the onesie twosie orders. And it's kind of from a standpoint, if you're a small business, you may not have the infrastructure, so that's a big deal as far as, because you may be using a 3PL, and 3PL is going to charge you more to send those single, double orders ever so often than versus Amazon, because they're pick, pack, and ship. I know we have complaints about it, but it's still a pretty good bargain if you really started to crunch the numbers. And yes, bulk items definitely are something that you want to. And I think a caveat too is apparel, is that we work with people who sell apparel, and if you have a shirt, your medium, large, and extra large sell significantly more than your small and double XL, but you want to have the gamut when someone goes on there, because maybe they want to order some for the family. So having a strategy about what's FBM and what's FBA is definitely a way to go about it. But in the end, it's all about profitability, and that you've got to understand as a business, and having worked with small businesses, we've had to understand that too, is what makes sense as far as FBM and FBA, and looking at that and making sure that you're making wise choices when it comes to what the business is. Hopefully, I mean, it's not the single source maybe, but at least it's about profitability in what you have and what you're selling.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know that a lot of that, Eric, did you have something?
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off of what Brian said. So like, Brian, you said at the very beginning, like if you have a new product and you're just kind of not sure about like how much velocity is going to have there, and you're just like, I'm going to just go FBM. Well, we do have this shameless plug. We do have a Vine video podcast, right? We talked about Vine already, but you could send 30 units FBA just to enroll it in Vine, get those reviews, and then you can go right back to FBM. So you can kind of use FBA just to kind of get that momentum built up, or just kind of get that listing a little bit more retail ready. When you have 0 to 5 reviews, your velocity is going to be real low unless you're Apple or Nike or somebody, like a well-known brand, right? So when you first start out, highly recommend doing an FBA, do some Vine, get that rolling, pull back to FBM, and see, if that product is desirable as your research showcases. And if it starts to move a lot more and your warehouse is starting to get a little bit, can't keep up, then switch over to FBA. Or like Brian said, which is absolutely amazing, just to be aware of as well, is like how many times do you have to pay your 3PL? I know some 3PLs pay them like every time they touch a product. It's really going to depend on your 3PL and how much volume you move. But just kind of keep that in mind too when going back to saying, hey, like do a cost analysis on that stuff. Make sure that you kind of understand the 3PL's process and what they're charging you per unit, and build that in.